Occasion on behalf of Sankalchand Patel University, I also welcome all the three speakers, Dr. Bijal Gandhi, who will be delivering his talk on physiotherapy approach during pregnancy. I also welcome Dr. Shupriya Vinod, who will be delivering her lecture on peripheral vascular diseases, physiotherapist perspective, and also Dr. Jihan Sokari, who will be delivering his address on integration of applied behavior analysis in PT practices. So all the three topics which has been selected, these topics are really very good. And after pandemic situation, you can see means how the things are coming on track. Earlier, it has been observed during Corona, a lot of crisis was there, and we are fortunate enough that having our population that is 135 crores, but still that crisis has been taken as challenge, and that challenge has been now converted into opportunities. So many other things are coming. So you can see means there is a great opportunity after Corona or during pandemic situation was for physiotherapist also, because when something happens, say somebody is prone to attack by coronavirus under this pandemic situation, then naturally immunity works a lot. And this is my own firm belief that immunity can be increased by yoga or by some other physiotherapies. So means Dr. Khatri and his team is working day and night just to give something to the society. And in this connection, Dr. Khatri's team has initiated with one unique initiative of Sakalchand Patel University. That how can we contribute to the society during this pandemic situation? So we have decided that we will have regular yoga classes for the society so that they can take its maximum benefit and they can increase their immunity, they can prove themselves as a healthy person. So all these things are very important, and in that area all specialized persons, all specialists, they are contributing up to some extent. And here there is some responsibility of physiotherapist also, that how can they contribute during pandemic situation. So I think this webinar will also be very useful, particularly for pregnant ladies, and other topics also which has been selected, that what are do's and don'ts during this pandemic situation, and how physiotherapy can assist these people. So the first topic which I'm finding in my screen, that is role of physiotherapy in antenatal phase of pregnancy. So that would be very much useful for all pregnant ladies. And other two topics, that is peripheral vascular disease, physiotherapist perspective, that would also be very useful. And the third topic, that is integration of applied behavioral analysis in PT practice, that will also be very, very useful for the society. So once again, I congratulate the entire team. I also congratulate Dean Physiotherapist Dr. J.R. Patel sir, who is guiding this entire team under his noble deanship. This entire physiotherapy college is taking proper shape. So I heartily congratulate Dr. J.R. Patel sir, Dr. Khatri, and moreover, I would like to thank our Honorable President Shri Prakash Bhai Patel, who is consistently inspiring our team so that more and more number of webinars are taking place. So on this occasion, we should be thankful to our Honorable President Shri Prakash Bhai Patel also. And all I, on behalf of Sankalchand Patel University, I welcome all the guests and all the participants who are taking part in this webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to request our Faculty Dean, Dr. J.R. Patel, sir, to enrich us with few words.
सर माइक सर म्यूट म्यूट है आपका. जेआर सर, जेआर सर को बोलो अपना माइक अनम्यूट करें। बता दो क्या दो, अनम्यूट करें, माइक को अनम्यूट करें।
Vijal, you can
Yes, sir.
just request JR sir.
नहीं, I have conveyed the message.
Uh,
He is with me only. I have just conveyed the message.
okay, sir.
सर, जेआर सर अनम्यूट करिए। जेआर सर उसको अनम्यूट करिए। नहीं हुआ नहीं अभी। यहीं बुला लो सबको, कोई बात नहीं, ऐसा है तो हमारे वाले में आ जाएंगे। जेआर सर आप इधर आ जाइए, हमारे वाले पे आ जाइए।
हेलो,
आप इस पे आ जाइए। अच्छा एक मिनट, फोन हटा देंगे।
हेलो, एक मिनट, ये वाला तो अनम्यूट ही है। अच्छा, आपने अनम्यूट किया है, अभी आप बोलिए। ओके, हेलो, गुड आफ्टरनून टू एवरीवन। आवर ऑनरेबल वाइस चांसलर प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर वी.के. श्रीवास्तव sir, our beloved dean, principal of physiotherapy college, all faculty members, and respected mentors of this webinar series. As rightly said by our honorable vice chancellor sir, that it's a good beginning from physiotherapy team for the benefit of all participants. And in this pandemic situation, the role of physiotherapist, the topic whatever you have selected, will be definitely helpful to for the interest of public. Rather, I must say that when physiotherapists are well versed with the physiotherapy and whatever are required, or if they are enhanced with this knowledge, then definitely will be useful to the patients as well as common man. So I hope this program will be very informative and useful to all participants. So I congratulate team at Nutan Physiotherapy College for organizing such a wonderful webinar series and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So our today's webinar will, yes, sir. So our today's webinar will introduce you with the topic physiotherapy approach during pregnancy. Let's hope that all the participants will gain knowledge and will participate with enthusiasm. Now I would like to call upon Vijal to introduce our today's guest speakers. Over to you, Vijal.
Thank you. Good afternoon to one and all. Myself, Vijal Mewada from Nutan College of Physiotherapy, and it's my pleasure to introduce our today's guest speaker. She is a renowned physiotherapist, fitness expert, and a pelvic floor rehabilitation specialist. She is a fellow of IAFT and a CanFit Pro certified trainer from Canada. She is associated as a consultant physiotherapist with hospitals like SIDS, Rupal Hospital, and Nirmal Hospital, Surat. She specializes in workplace ergonomics and pelvic floor rehabilitation, and also has specialty in as menstrual health hygiene and rehab practitioner, and also as lactation rehab practitioner. She had been having work for and is experienced for over 11 years. With this brief introduction, I would like to introduce our today's guest of honor, Dr. Bijal Gandhi, to the audience. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Vijay.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. I don't know more on, I don't know any faculty over there, but thank you very much giving me this opportunity. And I'm starting without failing. Okay. Role of physiotherapy in antenatal phase of pregnancy. We are studying, but the clinical way is far more different than our academic way. And I have seen this and I have experienced this in my career. So, shall we start? Okay. My name is Bijal Gandhi, and I have started my journey as a sports physiotherapist, and I ended up and landed up with this gynecological field. Um, okay, when exercising during pregnancy, when you are going to enroll yourself in pregnancy, then you are not a patient; you are a woman, and in different stage. That's what I think. And you need a brief introduction in that pregnancy. You need to know maternal physiology properly. The maternal physiology is going to be different than your normal human physiology. Okay, you need to understand the antenatal care. You need to understand the postnatal care and what is the role of physiotherapist. How we are going to ease the women, how we are going to help them. It is a very important part for us to understand. Fine. Like pregnancy is the most beautiful period in a woman's life, in the family and in the society. We are going to give a new birth, a new person. So this is actually a very important part of our life, and we are lucky, being a woman, that we can produce a human. Um, and maternal physiology. Maternal physiology is a very important part to understand. And um, are you able to hear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, due to pregnancy, there is major effects on our organal system like nutritional, digestive tract changes, urinary system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, metabolism, skeleton, and in our endocrine system. Right. So I'm just going briefly to make you understand how this is going to affect our internal systems. Like suppose we can take nutritional things. So during pregnancy, the nutritional requirements, including those of vitamins, minerals, sorry, okay, vitamins, minerals are increased, and several maternal alterations occur to meet this demand. Okay, uh, a woman need at least 300 kilocalorie per day when she is pregnant, and the mother appetite is usually increases. But some physiological effect reduce the food, like they have nausea, vomiting. So they are avoiding food, and we can modify certain positions. We can give them proper guideline and enhance the nutritional value of a woman. Then majority of the pregnancy will complicate 70% of in their 4 to 16 weeks. Like after that, there is a like we can say in first trimester there is a high risk, and second trimester we can apply anything what you can do, and in last trimester you have to take care. Okay. Like in maternal physiology, how digestive system is going to affect. Like our oral pH will be decreased, and our tooth decay will happen in during pregnancy. But that doesn't mean that you have lack of calcium in your teeth. Dental calcium is stable, and not mobilized during pregnancy, as in bone calcium, but the gums may become hypertrophic, hyperemic, and friable. So this may be due to increased systemic estrogen. Estrogen level will be high in pregnancy. Because of that, we are getting gums issues. Vitamin C deficiency is also there, and that will cause your tenderness and bleeding of the gums. Okay. After that, some gastrointestinal, we can go through gastrointestinal motility that will reduce eventually when you are getting pregnant due to the effect of progesterone and estrogen. Reduced, this will give you the digestive issues like constipation, acidity, heartburn, etc., etc. and transit time of food through the gastrointestinal tract will be slower, like than the usual thing, and more water will be absorbed over there, and more sodium will be absorbed over there. That's why we can see the fit edema over there, and this will lead to constipation. Uh, Same thing will happens with esophagus, dysmobility, stomach. In stomach, there is reduced tone, gastroesophageal junction sphincter per. Then production of the gastrin hormone will increase significantly and resulting in increased stomach volume and decreased stomach pH. So GERD can be seen in pregnancy. So what we are going to do as a physiotherapist, like we are going to give them some position. Like I'm specially prescribing them to turn on right side and sleep down. Turn on left side if she has breathing issues, and turn on right side if she is having heartburn or digestive issues. That will help her to calm down her acidity and digestive issues. Small bowel movement will be less, large bowel movement will be less, and even hemorrhoids can happen. So these all are the GI tract or renal GI tract problems you can see in pregnancy. Like in urinary system, there is hyperplasia of smooth muscle in a distal 1/3 of ureter. You can see these things in pregnancy very commonly. So they are getting high chance of like infections during pregnancy. The bladder, as the uterus enlarges, the urinary bladder will be displaced upward and flattened in the anterior and posterior diameter. जैसे जैसे यूट्रस बढ़ेगा ना, जैसे बड़ा होता जाएगा ना बेबी, वैसे वैसे urinary bladder will be displaced upward, then flattened anteriorly and posteriorly. So you are going to face incontinence. You are going to face some trouble during urine passage. Okay, so decrease the bladder capacity. So your frequency of urine passing is more in your pregnancy. How we are going to encounter, I will let you know afterward. Okay, after that, a cardiovascular system. If your uterus is going to enlarge, the diaphragm becomes elevated. That will affect your lungs as well as your cardiovascular system. Like your heart will be displaced upward and somewhat to the left with rotation on the long axis. Okay, so the apex will move bit laterally, and our blood volume will be increased during pregnancy, so heart need to pump more, so cardiac output will be affected during pregnancy. So these physiological changes will happen during pregnancy. And in the respiratory system, if we are going to take respiratory system, our alveoli become distended, our diaphragm come up as the uterus grows. So there are high chances of getting viral infections or any respiratory tract infections during pregnancy. That's why we are continuously asking them to do deep breathing exercise, because our diaphragm is not going to move downward as our abdominal muscles are getting weak in during pregnancy. But nothing is going to happen with the respiratory muscles in pregnancy. They are healthy. Fine. And our joint laxity, like due to hormonal changes, we have much more joint laxities, and we have more ligamental laxities we can see in pregnancy. So no twisting, jumping movements during pregnancy. Right? So these all are the maternal physiological changes we can see during pregnancy in a woman. Okay, musculoskeletal, as I already explained, some hormonal changes are there. Because of that, we are going to see the musculoskeletal changes in us, and increase our body weight. As we can see, our pelvic floor muscle is going to be stretched during this period. as the baby will grow, like we have 5 kg of weight without pregnancy on pelvic floor muscles. During pregnancy, there is 15 to 20 kg of weight on our pelvic floor muscles. So our pelvic floor muscles will need a very good tone, and a Kegel exercise or any exercises that is going to help a PFM muscle. Increase abdominal size during pregnancy. Okay. Increase in joint laxity and joint ranges due to hormonal changes, progesterone and estrogen. Increase water retention, edema, and nerve compressions because of our position, sacroiliac joint, and our anterior pelvic tilt. And drop in pelvic floor and pelvic floor dysfunction can be seen. Like our diastasis pubis can see in pregnancy. So that will give a tremendous pain, and we prescribe only bed rest. Okay. Painful muscle cramps can be seen as low level of potassium, sodium, and we can give some mild stretch and some active exercises to relieve muscle cramps and hot water fermentation. Pregnancy associated osteoporosis can be seen in commonly. Some postural changes. There is increase in abdominal size day by day. After 6 months or 7 months, they highly get low back pain. Why? Because COG will shift, our center of gravity will shift anteriorly, increase in lumbosacral angle, lordosis is going to increase, and our upper back is going to stay in kyphosis and bending forward over the enlarging uterus. Then you are going to see the changes in your shoulder, like protraction and hyperextension of your knees. That is going to give a tremendous pain in your all joints. This is something very abnormal position. Okay. See, you can see this. Slight pelvic tilt in pregnancy in early trimester, like in first trimester. This is normal body and normal COG line. Okay. Increased lordosis as your pregnancy is growing, and how the muscles are stretched and weakened, how the muscles are tight and shortened. You can see with this posture how the line is going to fall anteriorly or forward. That's why the human tendency is like that. We are going to try our balance, and because of that, we are going to compromise our posture, and we get some pain. Okay, great. Usually, waddling gait is common with the pregnancy in a late pregnancy, like after 7 or 8 months, as our lower portion is totally blocked or stagnant, like a rod. There is no pelvis movement. We are moving like a robot. Wide base of support, you can see loss of balance, waddling gait, as pelvic tilt is difficult in this stage, and sacrolumbar spine lock is very common. What is antenatal care? It is care of a woman during pregnancy, right? Primary aim is to achieve a healthy baby and healthy mom after delivery. Start immediately after the conception, but I know we are not getting this. Even after explanation, a lot of explanation, mothers are not going to come for physiotherapy, mothers are not going to join some yoga, mothers are not going to tell their problems or difficulties. As our society already accepted that mothers are like a superwoman, they can do anything, they don't have pain. History. Prenatal care started in Edinburgh at the turn of 20th century. During the 1920s, a few midwife departments of hospital and interested general practitioners saw the woman at intervals to check their urine for protein and some palpated abdomen. They have started this initially in 1920. Most pregnant women had only a medical and midwifery consultations once before a labor. Doctors were concerned with antenatal care only, if any of the complications of pregnancy should be noticed, like that. During late 1920s, a wider recognition emerged of the maternal problems of pregnancy as well as those of labor. The medical profession and then Ministry of Health woke up to realize that event of labor had their precursor pregnancy. She is Janet Campbell, one of the most far-sighted and clear-thinking women in medicine, who found first clinic sorry with a uniform pattern of visits and procedures. So how this antenatal care is started in 1920. Antenatal care team. Who all are going to include in this antenatal team? So gynecologists, midwives, genetic counselors, we physiotherapists, ultrasonography, grapher, dietitian, and general practitioners. Role of physiotherapy. In antenatal care, our role is like giving them physical, mental, emotional support. Even we can stand during their labor, and we can ask them to do breathing exercises during labor, during different stage of their labor. So there is no boundaries for physiotherapy. Even we need to think forward, we need to step forward, and we have to prove ourselves, nothing else. Like prevention and treatment of musculoskeletal problems, like if patient is having back pain, what we are going to do, we just need to ask, we just need to analyze what is going to cause this pain and start treating that problems and promote them a healthy lifestyle. Like female are always caring for others, they are not taking care of themselves. Like I have to cook, I have to make this, I have to go for work, I have to do this and that, but they don't understand that what is their situation, what is their bodily demand. So you need to counsel them for at least for 1 hour and make them understand what is going to happen with them, and place your knowledge over there and ask them to do something as a task. Like postural and ergonomic advice, this is very important for them, because they are not going to come again and again with for physiotherapy or anything else. So this advice or make a chart for postural and ergonomic advice, that will help them far more better than anything else. Prepare them for labor. Like some ladies have a fear of normal delivery, like there is going to have so much pain, so I don't want normal delivery, I want to go through C-section. So encourage them for normal labor, except some conditions are there in which normal labor is not going to help. Teaching a relaxation techniques. In pregnancy there is mood fluctuation, like females have hormonal changes again and again in their life, like 4 to 5 times they have the hormonal peak, spike and down. So hormonal changes will cause mood swings and anxiety, depression. So we need to teach them some relaxation techniques to make themselves calm down and face the pregnancy. Even after pregnancy, there are postpartum depression we can see in patients. So teaching relaxation techniques is a very important role of physiotherapist. Optimal physical fitness, you need to check that first. Like prevention and treatment. First is back pain, pelvic girdle pain. Prevention. If the woman is standing for a long time, ask her to avoid long time standing. Like for cooking, need to change position again and again. Like stand for 5 minutes, sit for 5 minutes, and walk for 5 minutes. Again and again. Make a circle, make a cycle, draw a picture for her. How you are going to cook, how you are going to sit, how you are going to deal with your household chore, and make her understand that you need to change your position again and again to avoid low back pain. Activities, ask her to analyze herself when she is going to get maximum pain. Like activities that produce the symptoms should be avoided, but she is not going to understand when you are going to ask her suddenly or directly that what you are doing कि आपको पेन हो गया एक्चुअली, तो उसको ये समझ में नहीं आएगा. उनको घुमा फिरा के पूछो एंड आस्क हर टू मेंटेन हर रूटीन लाइक दैट. और फिर उसको धीरे धीरे उस पॉइंट पर लेकर आओ कि आपने ये किया, उसकी वजह से आपको पेन हो रहा है. Then give her proper postural education. And for relief, we physio can do a gentle massage on back, hot pack, and TENS. Sacroiliac joint dysfunction. Okay. Sacroiliac belt is available in the market. So prescribe the patient the belt, and then various self-help manuals are there. Ask them to do those things at home or on the supervision of a physiotherapist, and give some sleeping positions to ease the sacroiliac joint pain, like this. Just sleep and cross your leg over the another. Sleeping in 90 degree with support will ease your sacroiliac joint pain. And hot water fermentation. Symphysis pubis dysfunction. This is very bad pain. No one can bear this, as symphysis pubis is not a moving joint, as we know, we studied. But in pregnancy, this is going to this is going to change, and female can get diastasis pubis in pregnancy, and they have tremendous pain. In that condition, you are not going to touch the patient. Just ask her to take rest. And reduction of non-essential chores. Ask her to take a strict bed rest, and keep the legs adducted. Abduction is contraindicated in this symphysis pubis condition. When she is going to abduct her leg, she will have tremendous pain. Avoid a single leg standing, because as you know that our hip hiking muscle is going the hip hiking muscle is not going to work over here, as we have waddling gait, a fixed robotic gait. And avoid a long stride when walking on uneven surface, and excessive use of steps. Gentle isometrics exercises should be done, especially for adductor muscles. Pelvic support bears are available in the market. This is going to help you actually. And when the patient is going to turn on a side, left side or right side, teach her log rolling. Log rolling is actually applied in ICU or in a traumatic patients. And as well for this symphysis pubis dysfunction. Actually, in clinical practice, we are teaching any pregnant woman log rolling, because we don't know when she is going to get some pain or catch. So log rolling is very important. After that, she can get up out of bed easily. And ice pack. You can give ice pack in this condition. Coccydynia. Coccydynia is pretty much common, as pelvic floor muscles are very tense. The puborectalis will be very tense. So coccydynia can be happen in pregnancy. So what we are going to give, we are going to give a donut cushion and place on during when she is sitting. Ask her to relax her pelvic floor muscles. Teach her how to relax your PFN. Teach her give icing in your NR region, like we are doing the transvaginal or transrectal examinations. But in pregnancy, we are not doing this transvaginal or transrectal analysis. But if the condition is demanding, then we are going to give and release, like myofascial releases, then we are going to release the band totally. Gentle mobilizations you can apply, ice pack you can apply, heating pad you can apply, ultrasonography you can apply, and TENS. This will help the patient. Pelvic floor dysfunction. Actually, pelvic floor dysfunction, can't be encountered during pregnancy, but we can help them through some exercises and through some modalities like stress incontinence. We need to encounter this with relaxation techniques. There is increased risk of pelvic organ prolapse. So we can teach them PFM exercises or Kegel exercises. Kegel balls are available in the market. Kegel weights are available in the market. Now vaginal cones are available in the market. Vaginal fit devices are available in the market. So ask them and teach them how to exercise and how to train your PFM muscles. Some electronic Kegel exercises are also available in the market. Electrical stimulation is not going to apply in the pregnancy, but if in some conditions we have to apply with the doctor's recommendations. Okay, IFT we can apply, and bladder retraining. We have to train them. We have to take a full assessment for their urinary training and ask them to fill up that throughout the day, and teach them the calm down method, calm down themselves, and calm down the PFM, and toilet training. Like toilet, we have heard to train train our children for toileting, but we need to train sometimes our elderly and pregnant female for toilet training, because we have some wrong conception and some wrong impression. We are in under some wrong impression. Like many women encounter, I have encountered many women like they are sitting in Indian sitting, they are using the Indian toilets, and it is not prescribed in pregnancy that you go in Indian toilet, because our PFM muscles are totally in stress, and if you are going to use Indian toilet, they will be stretched more, and pelvic organ prolapse can happen with this position. They are they feel that if they are feeling constipation, it will be removed with using the Indian toilet. It is not always prescribable. You can use Western toilet and just raise your leg from the hip side. Just put up just with like a step below your foot, and increase the angle. Achieve the 45-degree of hip and your thigh angle. It will give you the position of Indian toilet, but at the same time your PFM will be relaxed. So there is no chance of constipation. At the same time your PFM will be relaxed, so no chance of your pelvic organ prolapse. Sixth is nerve compression syndrome. This is very common, like carpal tunnel syndrome. We feel as a physio, we are not going to help much in carpal tunnel syndrome, except ice packs, resting hands in elevation, apply some splints, and limit your wrist flexion, ultrasound, and there is posterior tibial nerve compression we can see in pregnant ladies. Seventh is varicose vein. In varicose vein, actually I'm asking them to avoid standing and sitting for a long period, but it is not possible for a working woman. So we need to design the protocol. We need to make them understand how they are going to encounter day-to-day activities. In day-to-day activities, like they have to do the Burgers exercise frequently after 2 hours or 3 hours. They have to do just simple ATM, like ankle toe movement, frequently after 3 hours. They can apply stockings and go for work. And some positions, they have to achieve some positions after 3 hour intervals. So you need to design this. Okay, how they are going to work with these varicose veins. Frequent and vigorous ankle dorsiflexions and plantar flexions may be performed. Brisk walking may be performed, and elevate your feet when sitting or lying. Okay, elastic stockings may be worn. Sciatica. Sciatica, in 60% of pregnant female, you can see the symptoms of sciatica because of low mobility, because of that sacroiliac joint will be more stiff, and our pelvic tilt will be higher than the normal. And reducing this, reduce some activities or modify some activities like lifting the weight, how you are going to lift the weight, how you are going to bend, how you are going to do your normal core stuff within your pain limit. Advise them some positions, back care, and postural corrections. And not just advise, make them understand and make them used to use their posture like that, or give them postural correction belts sometime. Muscle cramps. Calf stretches is going to release your muscle cramps. Some deep kneading massage is going to help you in muscle cramps, and vigorous foot exercises are good for muscle cramps. And there is some pre-bedtime brisk walking, or you can have a hot bath before going to bed. That will help you to calm down your muscle. And chondromalacia patella, this is also common, but not so much. Like you can apply ice packs 2 to 3 times per day, strengthening of your quadriceps muscle, but don't give them close kinematic exercises. Try to avoid those things that will increase the pain. Restless leg syndrome. Restless leg syndrome is hard to beat. Like we need to prescribe them bed rest or a periodic walking to calm them down, and a period of reduced activity, giving up some work. After that, uterine ligament pain. If patient is having uterine ligament pain, they will misunderstand or misguide this with the labor. So you have to differentiate this with the ligamental pain. And after that, you can apply warm or cold therapy. You can massage over there, stroke over there, so the pain will be calmed down. And you can prescribe some posture or relaxation techniques to make the pain calm. And overall, you can apply a pelvis belt. Okay, this is the position you can apply for a pregnant female, like lying with 3 or 4 pillow under her back and neck. Why? Because this is going to help her in her digestive issues, in breathing, in back for her, like to correct her posture even, and calm down her all muscles. The pillow under her knees even. Sideline. Give her pillow between 2 legs, between the inside the abdomen. Her head should be supported in a proper way. Her hand should be supported in proper way. Sitting. The first sitting position is actually is good sitting position if you are going to apply a pillow. And the second position is a good position, but she will get pain after 10 minutes of sitting. And standing and walking. Don't stand with a proper lordotic posture. Ask her to do posterior pelvic tilt when she is standing, or give a leg raise to her. Like step up one leg and stand for a long time. That will not hurt her back actually. I can't ask her to stand with figure of four. Like if you stand with figure of four, that will ease your lower back pain. But in pregnancy, it is difficult to achieve. Fifth is ergonomic education. Like I said, like how to lift a weight. This is the wrong position and this is right position. As physios, we know all these things. Prepare her for labor, like a home-based delivery, hospital-based delivery, or water bath delivery. Now, stages of labor. Like there are 4 stages of labor, right? first stage of labor that will start from the onset of true labor pain and ends with the full dilatation of cervix in first stage of labor. It is like cervical stage. We can say it is a cervical stage. Why? Because the cervix is going to get dilated over here, and its average duration is 12 hours in primigravida and 6 hours in multigravida. Primigravida means first time who is going to deliver a baby, and multigravida means already deliver a baby. There are two phases for the first stage of labor, like latent phase and active phase. What you are going to see in latent phase, in the latent phase, 3 to 4 centimeter of dilatation of cervix you can see, and the duration will be 3 to 8 hours. And in second phase, it is it is the active stage and describes the time between the end of latent phase, like 3 to 4 centimeter of dilatation and full dilatation up to 10 centimeter. It is also variable in length, usually lasting between 2 to 6 hours. Then second stage of labor, it start from the full dilatation of the cervix and end with the expulsion of the fetus from the birth canal. Okay, it has got two phases, like propulsive phase and expulsive phase. Propulsive phase will start from full dilatation up to the descent of the presenting part of the pelvic floor, and in expulsive phase is distinguished by maternal bearing down efforts and ends with the delivery of the baby. So average duration is 2 hours in primigravida and 1 hour in multipara. Okay. In third stage of labor, it is going to begin after the expulsion of the fetus and ends with the expulsion of the placenta and membranes, and it is also involved the control of bleeding. So third stage is important. Why? If the third stage lasting more than 30 minutes, then it should be considered abnormal. The bleeding will be heavy. According to the labor stage, like in first stage, your mother is going to get ready and there are some cramps and pain. So ask her to lean down on pillow, ball, or chair or sofa somewhere and start deep breath in and out. These all are the position which are prescribed over here. Usually we are going to have this position in India. This is second stage. We can achieve this position in second stage and ask the mother to have a deep breath in and deep breath out. Ask her to ease her PFM, relax her PFM pelvic floor muscles during this stage. Is difficult because mother is panic in this stage, and divert her mind, divert her attention, and ask her again deep breath in, deep breath out. In third stage, give this position, ask her to hold the bar or hold the thing tightly, deep breath in, deep breath out, and her PFM should be relaxed. Pain relief in labor. Some oral analgesics are given and some inhalation agents are given to ease her pain. And what we are going to do is relaxation and some body awareness, breathing, and massage. We can apply massage over her head, over her breast, over her upper back region, over her lower back region, which is more painful area during the labor. You can start a music and you can apply even tense, and with massage both the combinations can go. You can ask her partner to come down and give a massage on her body, so she will be ready for labor. So these all are the techniques you can apply on a woman when she is in pain or the stages of labor are going to start, like the physiological relaxation, the reciprocal relaxation of muscles that we already know and we have applied on many patients. Contrast method, Jacobson technique, alternatively contracting and relaxing the muscle groups. Breathing exercises, you can apply pursed lip breathing and deep breathing exercise for the pregnant female. Visualization and imaginary, this won't be help in clinical practice because the mother is in pain. She is not going to visualize anything or she is not going to imagine anything. Touch and massage will have success ratio of 90%. Like if you are going to touch that patient and give a hug, she will calm down. If you are going to give her a massage on a painful area, it is easy for her to stay calm down rather than just talking or making her imagining the things. She is in pain and you are talking her some stories. She's not going to concentrate on those things. So you need to take care of what you are going to apply over that period. Optimal, this is also not very good. Benefits of exercise in pregnancy. We have studied a lot of things during our studies, like how we are going to help the patient, help the woman in pregnancy, like reduce common complaints of pregnancy such as fatigue. Fatigue is not just due to her physical work. She is drained because a baby is going to grow, and the baby will suck up all the nutrients, vitamins through her from her. That's why she is feeling so much fatigue. So her nutritional value should be encountered as a physiotherapist. Varicosities and swelling of extremities. Reduce insomnia, stress, anxiety, and depression. How we are going to reduce this insomnia? We need to encounter the each and every individual is different. You have to encounter that patient. You have to counsel that patient. Sit with the woman and ask her what is actually her problem is. It is psychological or it is physiological. You have to make the difference and then decide whether our physiotherapy is going to work with the exercises or we need to apply some meditation for the woman. Weight bearing exercises reduce the length of labor and prepares the woman for physical demands of labor. Some weight bearing exercises should be incorporated as physio, so that will help her uh, in labor. Like some in some clinics they are practicing the squat position for normal labor, but successful ratio is not so much. Like women are getting much more pain because they are not used to do some exercises, or they didn't have done some exercises before pregnancy or during pregnancy, uh, like in weight bearing conditions. Improve the core stability and pelvic floor muscle strength. It is very important for a woman because core muscles are going to get weak after delivery even. Improve a glycemic control, uh, protective effect on coronary heart disease and osteoporosis and hypertension. Improve posture, strengthens her muscles, and maintains the muscle length and flexibility. Decrease the birth weight and lays maternal weight gain. Improve the feeling of well-being. Helps her in achieving the pre-pregnancy fitness level. Okay. This is actually absolute contraindication for a pregnant female when she is going to come down for exercise in your clinic. Like incompetent cervix, if she is having acute infection, then ask her to go for a blood test or ask her to go for her gynecological checkup again and again, and have a consent of your doctor or gynecologist that she can exercise in spite of her acute infection. In any acute condition, we have to give patient rest. We can't ask her to have some exercises or do this and that. We are not God. We have to give up in some conditions, and we have to help them. Thromboembolism or pulmonary embolism, it is very risky and undetectable conditions. Uh, Many a times doctors are getting failed to identify pulmonary embolism or thromboembolism, and we are asking them to do ATM, and they are getting a severe and life-threatening condition because of this ADM. So we need a good screening and good doctors team. We have to work as a team and good communication with gynecologist and other physicians who is actually in chain with the pregnant lady. Persistent second or third trimester bleeding. If she is having bleeding, then stop your exercise. Don't show her anything and ask her to take bed rest. Intrauterine growth retardation. If you have seen her sonography report and there is some abnormalities in tit, then don't ask her to come down over here and do exercises. Ask her simply to take rest. Relative contraindications, chronic hypertension. If patient is having hypertension from since her first trimester itself, ask her, help her in certain way that she is not ended up with something bad. Clinical exercises can be prescribed, but don't involve her in fitness related exercises in chronic hypertension. Extreme morbid obesity. If patient is so much obese, you need to ask her some clinical exercises. Don't ended up with the fitness exercises. I'm always differentiating two things. Exercises in a two ways. Some clinical exercises are like that. They are basic need and going to help the patient rather than they have to push themselves out of their limit. Poorly controlled seizure disorder. Actually, in this condition, we are not going to do anything. So ask them to take rest and continuously stay in contact with their relevant doctor. Mild to moderate cardiac disease. If patient is having some cardiac disease, ask her to go with that cardiologist and continuously stay in contact with the cardiologist, and you can prescribe a moderate exercises for that. Severe anemia. In this case, we are prescribing bed rest only. Twin pregnancy after 28th week. Initially, you can manage with some exercises like mild exercises, modifications. But after 28th week, it is hard for a woman to set herself in our exercise protocol. So ask her to take rest, or it is better to give some positional options. Exercise induced asthma. If someone is having asthma, don't ask them to do exercises. You will cure, you will have this and that. Don't dream like that. Ask her to take rest, nothing else. um, Signs to terminate physiotherapy during exercise. In clinical practice, I have seen many physiotherapists. I'm not blaming them. This is just a discussion. I have seen many physiotherapists. They are taking classes of 12 to 13 pregnant female. How you are going to observe them individually if you are going to take some 12 or 13 female classes together? It is difficult, and personally, I'm not taking 12 to 15 women in one group, because each and every individual is different, and especially in pregnant female, I'm not taking rest. One-on-one is better than 1-on-12. Excessive shortness of breath. If you are going to see, if you are checking this, the excessive shortness of breathing, then stop your exercise. Ask her to settle down. Take her BP measurement. Check her nails, check her lips, check her gaze again and again. Talk with her again and again. If she is having some chest pain or palpitation, then stop exercise again. You should have some BP instruments. You should know how to measure blood pressure. You should know, you should have the pulse oximeter with you to measure her pulsations and the oxygen level, saturation level, as it can get down suddenly. So you need to stop there. Painful uterine contractions. If she is feeling pain on and around abdomen, but she don't understand where the pain is actually located, then stop the exercise. Pre-syncope and dizziness. If the patient is feeling like dizziness or something, stop your exercise. Vaginal bleeding. Vaginal bleeding is very bad indicator. So stop your exercise, ask her to lie down on the table, and ask your, if you are working in the hospital, ask your gynecologist or helper to assess her and have the sonography again. Excessive fatigue. If the patient is feeling so much tired, her body is giving up, then ask her to take rest and give her meditation or the other options rather than putting herself in a strainful exercises. Abdominal pain, I already mentioned, and reduced fetal leakage of any amniotic fluid or something you can found, then stop the exercises and ask her to take rest. Exercise risk during pregnancy, or what exercise can done with a pregnant female, like maternal risk. If I'm going to say something to the side of maternal risk, then musculoskeletal trauma. If if mother is stretching herself so much that I can do this, I can do that, I always ask a mother that do the things in your limit. Don't do uh, so much stretch yourself that I can do this, I can do that. No. If you found that this is painful, this is my limit, stop there. Like in simple butterfly, I'm not allowing them to sit on the floor. I'm asking them to sit on the bed, because if they are going to sit on the floor, it is difficult for them to get up from the floor. So I'm asking them to sit on the bed and achieve the butterfly pose. Start deep breathing exercises, 15 to 16 breathe. Don't flutter. No need to flutter even. This is going to help your PFM muscles to get strong. This is going to help your baby to come down. मतलब baby position, baby की जो position होती है ना, that will achieved with this um, butterfly pose. So this is just a one modification. You can give lot of modifications with all the exercises. So that will help them and reduce the incidences of musculoskeletal trauma. Supine. If you are going to give us one session of like 60 minutes of session and give a supine position, then definitely the mother is going to feel hypotension when she is going to get up. So try the positions in, give us some exercises in supine position, then alternate this with the sideline position, uh, then modify the exercises with the in different position, and give her time to take such position. Don't stay in hurry, like you have to do this in this minute, you have to do this in this minute. Give her time. Fall. If the balance is not good, if you are forcing her bit, then she will feel fall. And you have to measure her cardiac you have to measure her heart rate max. You have to decide when you are going to give her aerobics task, you have to measure her heart rate. You need to calculate her heart rate max and then going to give her any aerobic activity. Okay. Then fetal risk. If fetal distress, preterm labor can be happen. Abnormal raise in temperature can be happen. Even we can see the woman is going to do some hard strenuous exercise during her pregnancy. The fetal size can be remarkably increased than a normal. We don't know the reason, but we are this can be encountered because of exercise. Type of exercise, you can give aerobics exercises like walking, swimming, or some step exercises, physio ball exercises. You can modify as you want. And resistive exercises, floor exercises, flexibility exercises, TheraBand you can add so many chair exercises, bed exercises, sofa workout, water bottle workout. You can modify as you can want. And the intensity should be maximal heart rate of 60 to 70% for a woman who was sedentary. Always take a history that you were doing some workout or yoga or something before or not. 60 to 90% for women wishing to maintain fitness during pregnancy. There is a Borg scale of perceived exertion. You need to check that. And I hope you all know this. General guideline for exercise in pregnancy. Like physical examination is very important part for us. No need to settle down yourself. Like you no need to have the full assessment. Like in student life, we are taking the assessment paper and going to the patient and asking them each and everything which is required or not required. Just have a note of contraindications. Just ask the patient what actually she is aiming for, and just watch out her history and clinical papers. This is more than enough for you to understand a person who is coming in front of you, and then design a safe exercises and safe protocol for women. Okay, avoid jerky, bouncy, ballistic movements, and activities should be avoid. And warm up should proceed exercise session followed by a cool down or a gradual decline in activity, which we are not going to follow in any clinical practice. Maternal heart rate should not exceed above 140 beats per minute. We don't have even a pulse oximeter in each and every clinic. I have not seen any pulse oximeter to measure this beats per minute. So we are randomly going and randomly coming. But for pregnant ladies, I insist you need to have a check on heart rate, on respiratory rate. It is very important to understand her physiology. Do not overextend her, overstretch the joint, over tired her, and she is not going to be athlete with your session. She just need to maintain herself. She just need to get rid of her pain. She just need to be happy, and she just need want that she should deliver a healthy baby. Nothing else. General guidelines for exercise in pregnancy. Okay. No prone position after first trimester. Like in first trimester, you can achieve prone position for a while to enhance your breathing capacity, because your lungs are going to be compromised in a later stage. So we are applying this method at our clinic. But after first trimester, you need to make them understand the prone position is strictly prohibited. Avoid the exercise in supine after fourth month of your pregnancy. No pain, no gain does not apply in pregnant lady. So you need to understand this. Fluid must be taken before, during, and after exercise to avoid dehydration. Generally, we are not giving water to anyone that you can't drink during exercise and all. Bouts of water you can have during exercise, before exercise, and even after exercise. There is pre-workout snacks are also available and designed. You can take some snacks to avoid some low blood pressure, sugar level. You can maintain your sugar level the, uh, if a lady is having gestational diabetes, then you need to design your diet plan chart accordingly. Avoid a Valsalva manure and avoid a contact sports during pregnancy. Okay, empty your bladder before exercise and avoid GI discomfort by eating at least 1 hour prior to exercise. Fine. Then strenuous exercise must be avoided in hot, humid weather and when pregnant woman is pyrexial. Okay. And for any human, exercise should be avoided in hot and humid weather. It is very discomfortable uh, for any person. Okay. Horseback riding or gymnastics or cycling during pregnancy are not allowed. Okay. Exercises according to the trimester. We have divided the exercises according to first trimester, in second trimester, and in third trimester. In first trimester, we are going to give some clinical exercises and basic exercises for the patient to get comfortable with the exercises and to get rid of their pain. And in second trimester, you can apply some innovative exercises, and you can go through your protocol. And again, in third trimester, you need to take care of PFM. You need to check her PFM, that if the baby is going to get down, if she is having stitches or she is having other complications. Accordingly, you need to decide your exercise protocol. Women with special needs. Gestational diabetes. Like if woman is found that she is diabetic during her pregnancy, then you can prescribe her walking, stationary, bicycling, and low impact aerobics activities with the guidance. You can't prescribe her, you can do this, I know, I have studied. You can't do this. You have to call her doctor, you have to ask for a permission, then you apply all these things. 5 to 10 minutes of warm up and cool down period involving some flexibility exercises. Precautions including monitoring a blood glucose level. This is very important. Scheduling rest periods and carefully tracking fetal activity and uterine contractions. Okay. Pregnancy-induced hypertension, that is preeclampsia and eclampsia. Okay, in preeclampsia, we are going to ask her to take rest only, because it is very hard to beat preeclampsia. We can't do anything as physio. Left side lying position. Ask her to sleep in a left side lying position, as there is no compression over the venous return, as you can see in this picture. Third is competitive athletes. If a woman is athlete, then it is actually difficult for her and for us as a physiotherapist to give her some exercise protocol, because our major concerns are the effects of pregnancy on competitive ability, the effects of strenuous training on pregnancy, and constant supervision by the obstetric care provider. And it is hard to have a constant supervision from a gynecologist. Additional evaluation to assess fetal growth and well-being. Women in workplace. We can see many women are working out, and they are pregnant and they can't compromise their work. And I'm not going to ask them to compromise their work. Then you have to design, you have to take a lead what she is going to do, how her work is. You need to have her whole history, whole work schedule, that how she's um, going to have work done at her place. Like she is having personal cabin, or she need to stand full time, she need to sit full time, how she is sitting, whether she is having breakfast, whether she is having a lunch break or not, how her position is over there. If she is a lecturer, then she need to stand for a long period. If she is having some white collar job, she need to sit over long period of time. If she is an engineer, then you need to design the protocol according her profession. If she is dancer, how she is going to maintain her balance between exercises and um, her care of being mother. Like special consideration should be given for that kind of female. An ergonomic analysis so as to reduce work-related stress, injuries, disease, or discomfort. Control of the risk factors by making modifications in the task or the working technique. Ergonomic advice and postural correction should be given. So this is all I think about the antenatal care. I think this is clear. Thank you so much.
Yes, Jill, you can start.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening us with your knowledge. I'm pretty sure that this information that you gave us will definitely help us. So now I would like to call upon Urja to deliver vote of thanks. Over to you, Urja.
Jill,
Yes, sir.
I just have a small request.
Yes, sir.
If you look at the chat box, I think there are some questions. So just
Yes, sir.
if you can take a few questions, if Bijal Madam permits.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, Bijal, ma'am.
Yes, yes. I'm trying to get it.
Okay, ma'am.
Chat box.
If Gunjan is available, you can unmute and put up your question.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, ma'am, I wanted to ask that squatting exercises, gymming activities, is it
Yes.
advisable during pregnancy?
Yes, it is advisable, but you need to check her PFM muscles, pelvic floor muscles, before giving this kind of exercises.
Okay,
Like
okay.
grading systems are there for PFM muscles. You need to grade it. You need to check the muscles are powerful or not. Then eventually you can
Perfect
give her.
scoring. Perfect scoring.
No,
According power endurance,
you.
that scoring.
Uh,
How do we grade
No,
it?
no, that no. The grading
Then,
systems are invented yet, matlab, invented recently. Like Heath grading scores are there, Kegel grading scores are there, and many other things are there. You need to check this before going for BFM.
okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you.
If anyone else would like to ask some questions, they can unmute themselves and can ask questions.
And Gunjan, I have worked in Canada and I have trained the pregnant female over there also. They are lifting
Okay.
weight even because they were trained for that. They are doing gymming before pregnancy, so they understand what they should not do, what they must do, take care of. So I have seen such women who are lifting weight, wrestlers, and they are pregnant and they can do all the things.
Okay, okay. So it is advisable, but you must be having some activity before pregnancy as well. If you start during
Yes, yes.
pregnancy, it is not advisable. Okay, ma'am. Got it. Thank you.
Come.
Jasmine, do you have any question? Jill, I think you can go ahead.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So now I would like to call upon Urja for giving vote of thanks. So over to you, Urja.
Very good afternoon to one and all.
Urja, you're not audible.
Hello. A very good afternoon to one and all. Honorable dignitaries and all the participants, I am Urja Vaidya from final year BPT, and it's my privilege to propose vote of thanks on this webinar session. On the behalf of Nitin College of Physiotherapy, a constituent unit of Sankarchand Patel University, Visnagar, I express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Bijal Gandhi for providing us this valuable knowledge, and I am grateful to respected Vice Chancellor Dr. V.K. Srivastava sir for providing encouragement. I'm also thankful to Faculty Dean Dr. J.R. Patel sir for providing us motivation. I would like to thank our President Shri Prakash Patel sir, who is the backbone of our SPU University, for all his logistical support and encouragement. I wish to thank our Principal Sir Dr. Subhas Khatri sir for guidance and support. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to our Organizing Secretary Dr. Priyanka Chaudhary for all logistical support and help. I'm also grateful to our team members and all the other faculty members for direct and indirect support. Last but not the least, I would like to acknowledge all our participants for listening with patience. Finally, I acknowledge each one of you and declare that today's webinar session is over.
Thank you all of you for participating, and I declare that today's webinar is over. See you next time. Till then, goodbye and have a nice day.
Vijal, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Good day. Bye.